go.
Yeah. Okay, we're live.
Yay!
Hey, everybody.
Hey! And Silvertail, like David said, we're going to miss you, but awesome that you're visiting India. So I hope you're having a great time. And St. Dodman, cool. I'm glad you were able to take a look at that. And I have to comment on how amazing your little icon is. Like, that's just very classy and colorful, and I love it.
Yeah, and you know what? Since hey everybody.
Ooh, from Brazil. Hey, Renee.
Wow.
Nice.
Since we're just starting off, and since this is the day that it goes live, do you want to take a moment and just describe your Fiat Lingua article, and then what you did with the podcast and everything? Pull it up here.
Sure. Which is so funny because on the post I had written for the podcast, I did this whole lead up to spoiler alert. So if you wanted to watch the podcast or hear the podcast first, and then David just posted what the spoiler was, so I can take that out of the Patreon post.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was all it's .org, right?
Yeah, but .com should redirect there. Okay. At least it has. It started out that way.
But yeah, so the podcast episode for this month for our patrons, if you're not a patron, you'll have access to it, or if you're not at the right tier, you'll have access to it. Mail drop. You'll have access to it at the end of season 5 because we release all
patrons. Podcasts. All patrons get our podcast.
You should.
Yeah.
Okay. And anyway, that sidetracked me. This month we talk about language documentation, and we were really talking about looking at conlang grammars and what features made them more helpful to share with other people, specifically other conlangers. Because the more you read conlang grammars, the more you realize that sometimes some key details either get buried and are very difficult to find, or are just missing. And so we talked about what makes conlang documentation more helpful and easily accessible. So anyway, as I was prepping notes and prepping a presentation before our podcast, at the same time I was working on the Graham Bank trivia game that I had created for David.
I was totally wrong. You were right. It's only $5 and up. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, good. But at the same time, I was working on the Graham Bank trivia game that we did in episode 39. Where it was Graham Bank had really just been released, and so I wanted to have fun playing with its features, but in a way that kind of made language game. And so, Karis, you're absolutely right. It is not just conlang grammars that are not well written, and information is, again, just not always as easy to find. It's sometimes buried in ways that make it less user-friendly. So anyway, while I was working on all the podcast stuff, I came up with the idea of turning Graham Bank, its website, and all of its features list into a sheet, essentially a big table, which I used Google Sheets to do just because it's shareable, and most people have access to it. And I came up with that idea of doing that. I feel like you're about to say something.
I think you should introduce Graham Bank.
Graham Bank, yes. Let me pull that up. It's a great resource, and I need to pull this over a little bit. Well, I'm just going to do that because it'll come up on top. So if you've ever used WALS, it is similar in the sense that its goals are overlapping a lot with what WALS does, which is the World Atlas of Linguistic Structures. And so what it is it's all about different features that languages can have. And when you look at the features, you get a brief description of what is the feature actually targeting. And then it tells you how languages either have the feature or don't, what actually needs to be there for the feature to be considered present in the language. And then there's language examples, which they have some really cool examples as you go through all the different ones, you know, further reading, etc. But then you get to the map, and then this is the part that really inspired me, was that underneath where they have the map, and they have all the different languages that are in the study, which you can see here. There's over 2,400 for this particular feature. There's this comment section where you can like get more information, and so it's not just that it's not just that, yes, it has articles. It's that, specifically Abun, you can use a demonstrative as a definite article, and so that I found very helpful. And I thought, if you just feature by feature created a table where you have all of these different features, preloaded into a table with a space to code it as like, yes, this is in the language, or no, it is absent, and then have a comment section where you can actually fill it out and do something with it, then that would be kind of cool. And so that's where the idea came from.
So then the Fiat Lingua article introduces you to how to use it and gives you an example. But I think that you should pull up the actual Google spreadsheet. Maybe I can try to share the link on the live chat.
Yeah, can you go ahead and try to share the link, because then I can open the link without having to access.
But you can.
Oh, from here, yes.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Pull this open. I forgot that there was a link in here.
The new one takes a little bit longer to load for some reason.
Weird.
And I don't know why, but it's.
So this is not just my computer.
No, it's taking a second, but.
I want to go back and like try to redo something.
It's really weird.
Should I have clicked the other versions or the?
No. Here, just reload.
Whoop. That doesn't really help.
How extraordinarily peculiar.
How unfortunate. Try this. Huh.
Anybody else having trouble with this?
That is so interesting. I wonder if I can just.
I'm open to find on mine. Okay. And now a link. There we go. There's the sheet.
So David's going to send this. I have no idea what's happening right now.
Copy link.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, great.
That is really unfortunate. But yeah, in the article, there's also like anything that looks like a hyperlink is one, so you can be taken to those other resources.
Scroll down.
And
first do that one, I think.
So this.
Then do the Jwadi one. I think that would be great.
Oh, I should have open a new window. Oh well. This is the actual sheet that is, as you can see, view only. So if you want to use it, you'll actually need to like make a copy or download it for yourself. But it's everything in these two columns on the left. You have those GramBank features. That is directly from the GramBank database. And all of these are linked to the GramBank features, which go straight to the feature write-up, where you can see like how are they defining this, what are they saying counts as being a match for this particular feature, and so you can read more and see examples. And then for each feature, I created a basic category of either noun, verb, or clause. That's really for organizational strategies. So you can, for instance, like sort from A to Z. So that way all the clause information is together, all the nouns are together, and so on. Because otherwise what you end up seeing from the original order is that it kind of goes back and forth. And so it's, there's like, this is to do with the verb, and then it switches to be something with the noun. And so it kind of does that back and forth throughout. There's also subcategories that target more specifically, like it's not just something to do with the noun and how to express noun meaning, but more specifically, for instance, these are to deal with articles and their support of nouns. And so you can sort by that too and see all the subcategories that I created. So these categories and the subcategories are my organizational creation there that is not part of GramBank, and that is something that if you disagree or if you think my language doesn't quite match the way that I defined something as belonging to like the clause level or the verb level, you can always go in and actually change these once you edit it.
Once you copy it and
Once
make
you
your own.
copy, you
Yeah.
can actually change the category labels. You can change what's available to have more than just those three basic ones to fit your language. For instance, if you have a core class of adjectives that are true adjectives in your language and are neither verbs nor nouns at their core, then that's something that you may want to create as a category for organizing the sheet specific to your language. When you can edit it, these are all drop down menus for yes and no answers.
So now I'll probably go to the Schwadi one, which it will be view only as well, but
I told you I shouldn't have done that.
oh, I see why. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Schwadi one is going to be view only for you as well, but it has it's like mostly filled out, so it'll be nice and helpful. I'm going to get a link to it.
Please do. No. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Every time you say you're going to get a link, mine finally responds
threaten
and
it,
is
man.
like, "Okay, I'm ready." So here's one that I filled out for my personal Conlang Joadi. And in it, you can see that I've actually answered the features. And so, like, the drop down menu is yes, no, or not sure. Anything that is not sure is something I just haven't figured out yet in the language. And so sometimes my not sure answers are totally blank because I really have no ideas quite yet. I haven't gotten there. Other times I actually like have ideas where it's like I think it's going to be this, and so I wanted to just type in that note to remember, for myself later on as I go back. The hyperlinks here are actually active, yay! But one thing that I liked about using this was that I could be like, well, my answer here is no, but this is really already answered in another spot, and so I've got all these hyperlinked, so you can like, especially as you're like further down at the bottom and it's like see this feature from a completely different part of the list like here.
Yeah.
You can click on that and actually go to that box directly, and so that's kind of a fun little thing.
I have a very good example for this. If you scroll down to interrogatives, or is it still in GramBank order?
It is.
Then go to like 200 something.
Whoops.
There we go, interrogatives. So take a look at these interrogatives, and you can see, like, I'll give you an example. So in High Valyrian, the difference between a statement and a question is just intonation. So, Vala abre the man sees the woman. Vala abre does the man see the woman? So it's just intonation. So this first one, it says, can polar interrogation, thank you, I've been sick, be marked by a question particle and verbal morphology? Is that this feels like this is in a different order from the one I used. There we go, not tone. Can polar... Where there must be more of these. Anyway, well, like one of them. So, like basically, it's like, can polar interrogation be marked by a question particle and verbal morphology? For High Valyrian, you mark no. Can polar interrogation be indicated by overt verbal morphology only? No. Can it be marked by tone? No. Can it be marked by a V not V construction? No. And there are a couple of others like this, and basically all of them are going to link to one. Yeah, if you do it like that.
Whoops.
And here we go.
Here's the full.
Can polar interrogation be marked by intonation only? So that's where I write yes, because I am actually filling one of these out for High Valyrian. So I mark yes, and I give an example showing how it works. And for all the others, I just click no and say link to this one, so that you jump immediately to that one and see this is how polar questions are formed in High Valyrian. And so it's like, it's really exhaustive, but also really short. And you can also get like simple questions, it's like, is there verbal morphology for this? No, but here's the example. Anyway.
Yeah. And so, yeah, this like is basically a way of being able to, document features of your language that are really specifically shareable with other people, so that the community understands, where it's like these are very common morphosyntactic features that we ask about languages, and how does your language do it? And then with the examples, connected to each one, somebody who wants to know about your language, like what do you do with demonstratives, can really really clearly go to all the demonstrative boxes and see like this is what you're doing with demonstratives. And so it's kind of an exciting way to share. As I mentioned in the Fiat Lingua article, this is not intended to take the place of a full written grammar document, because you can get a lot more information packed into that, including sound changes and things like that, which are not in this particular list. But you can get a lot more information in that full written document. This is really an organizational strategy to say, how does my language work in this regard? These are important points of comparisons, cross-linguistically for natural languages and conlangs. And these are the types of features that we usually want to know about languages when we're asking those cross-linguistic questions. And so it's really more about sharing your work, or about getting your ideas really honed for the language you're working on, whether you have a lot of features built up or not. It makes it kind of helpful to say, where am I lacking in the language? What do I need to build out? So that way, these features actually have an entry.
Yeah.
So it makes it very helpful.
And it is kind of like a sophisticated version of Thomas Paine's describing morphosyntax. And I like how they've essentially broken it down into binary features. So it's not like, for example, like it's not as if you answer yes or no to one of these, that necessarily you have to answer yes or no to another one. So it's not like, which of these things does your language do? Choose one and it doesn't do the rest. This is more like, it does this. It might also do this. There's also an option for not sure, and that could be like either you haven't figured it out yet, or maybe it kind of does both or something very different.
Well, and that's one thing I also really like is anytime there's not a yes/no question, where it's like, what's the order of demonstrative noun? And, your options are demonstrative noun, noun demonstrative, both, or, and there is always that option to say it actually has these multiple features, including like once you get down to like relative clauses, it's like, can it appear before the noun? That's a separate question from can it appear after the noun, and also separate from can it appear, discontinuously from the noun it's modifying.
Yeah.
All completely different issues. And so, Logan, that's how it's a bit different. Yeah, I was going to say it's not actually contradicting what you said in your article, because it's not about saying, typologically, if you're a VO language, this should happen. This is saying, where do you put the verb in general? And then all those other features, you just answer for how your language does it. And it's not like constraining it to a specific thing. It's just, again, a way of saying, gonna share these features, and this is in general how it works. And that's also a reason for the description example, like comment section, because even if you look at GramBank and the comments they have, something may be coded as having a feature, but then in the description, it's like, but not always. And so it's like you kind of have that give and take. And so that's really, really exciting, I think.
Yeah. And part of the reason I think that like the original one that Jesse did is super useful is it's just basically an instantiation of GramBank.
Yeah.
So you can totally edit it when you make a copy of it. And in fact, a very nice example, Jesse decided to edit this so that it was pink instead of yellow.
Yes.
I thought that was nice.
It's my signature color.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, you can add, remove features. You can change what the yes/no's mean, whatever you want.
Yeah, and you can also, Miles, you're absolutely right. You can say neither or whatever. Like you can add anything to the boxes. It's, like I said, completely editable once you have it. And I do have a list of instructions that's across the bottom. If you click on instructions, it'll tell you how I did these things and like what I used. But then it also tells you more information about like how you can edit the different columns to do what you want. And so, you can totally make it your own and share it and make your own Fiat Lingua article by downloading it as a PDF and sending it to Tefa.
There you go. So anyway, this all went live today.
Yes.
This very day, and so that's why we wanted to spend some time introducing it, because I just think it's really, really useful. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And so I was very excited about it. So anyway,
God,
yeah,
look at these great little icons
I
here.
know.
Oh my gosh. And also I've kind of like been out of the side of my eye looking at chat, but because I was talking here, I wasn't able to like fully read. But for all of the congratulations that I did catch, thank you. David and I are very excited. And in case you didn't know what the congratulations were for, David and I are now engaged. And so, yay! I said yes. Uh, and so that was our big news since our last stream.
Yeah.
And so that's why also on the article, it my byline is soon to be Peterson. And so yes,
yeah.
so thank you all.
Hence the trip to Finland. Hope you can forgive us for not streaming last week.
Oh gosh, because like that was actually. Oh, I need to change my calendar. That was last Thursday instead of a live stream. David proposed.
That's right.
That was the day. And so thank you. All right.
Okay, we ready to get to the polls? Yeah,
Yes.
we got a couple of them. So
Let me move this back over. And Bubba, we were going over the new Fiat Lingua, which article which released today, and which is connected completely to the podcast that released today for patrons.
Yep. Okay. So we had two polls, and I guess we'll go ahead and do the regular poll first. So
I had it so conveniently pulled up there, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. So this
kind of disappointed. Like, yeah, I know.
So for this poll, we were going to decide how we were going to do comparison, like comparison for both kind of like verbs and adjectives, perhaps, but at the very least adjectives. Our adjectives are going to be based on nouns, right? And so we came up with a bunch of different strategies. We narrowed it down to 3. And those strategies are like this. So the first one was having a verb that means something like exceed. And so the way it would work is that if we had, to bram ayuf, which is the dog is big. So to is, bram is dog, I is a little connector, and uf is big, which is hilarious. So the dog is big. Now to say the dog is bigger than the bird, what happens is you have mak, which is just a stand-in. We can change, what it is, right? Mak means to exceed. So bram, mak bram, the dog exceeds, and then its object is I, and its object is actually a noun, so uftol. And again, that is also something that can be, negotiated. Essentially, uf is big, an adjective. Uftol is a noun that means bigness, and is chwav. So chwav is the bird. So exceeds the dog, the bigness of the bird. And so that is how that verbal exceed option would work for comparison.
As a side note, using exceed as in a comparative construction is really common cross-linguistically. That is something that happens a lot in Anime Fan. Wow, we've been hiding it well. Wow.
Wow.
Drama plot. Love it, Mateus.
Oh, man. And Magpie, so sorry. Magpie says, apparently having twice as much time does not make me twice as likely to remember to vote. And so I hope that the option you wanted to win wins, because I will tell you that this poll was razor thin. Okay.
It was close. And Carl, you're absolutely right. Amazing food.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, anyway.
All right. Ilona, if you're watching.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So B, next option. So using kind of a than. All right, the way this works, so, the dog is big, same thing. And now what we say is, the dog's still big. Vem is some sort of preposition that we're deriving from the verb cover, right? And so vem wa chwav. and basically, so it's like the dog is big, cover the bird. The dog is big, covering the bird. There's nothing attached to either the adjective or the original verb that says anything about or ist or anything like that. It's just the use of this preposition implies the comparison.
And I will say, if you look in the World Lexicon of Grammaticalization, where we were searching for ideas for strategies, there is no comparative strategy listed for a target for a source to target, because every comparative strategy listed in there is a construction like one of these two. And so that is something, just FYI.
Oh, and also I forgot to mention, for both of these, for the superlative, you're just going to use something like everything or all. So the dog is big, covering everything, or the dog exceeds the bigness of everything. And that's how we do superlative. All right.
And what I'm also seeing is the patrons prefer it when we don't actually post the polls until 2 days before the stream. So then we can be like, urgent, they're out, do it.
You know, when we give you these assignments, we give you 2 weeks with the understanding that basically the moment that the stream is done, you will start working, doing your research, keep it up, perhaps compare notes, and then finally make a final decision at least, a day before, so that there's time for revision. And, we also say that you can ask for feedback from us if you contact us at least 3 days in advance.
That's it.
It's trust, all right? And so we don't want to think about that our patrons are actually rushing to vote like minutes before the poll is going to close.
Here, I was just presenting that information to you to be like, don't feel bad about when it takes us a few days to post the poll. But David, yes, is a comedian.
There you go. All right, so that's B and C. Now this one, right there.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Okay. Verbal modification. So the way this one
Miles,
works...
3 business days, obviously. If it's a weekend, that's... Okay, go on.
All right.
This one
works. For this one, there's some sort of modifier that we put on the verb itself. In this case, that verb is just to be, right? So, the dog is big, now becomes something like tohar, bram, ayuf, wahwav. So tohar means to be bigger. Or no, it doesn't mean to be bigger. It just means to be more, more. So the dog is more big, and then wahwav, to the bird. So that to is used as kind of like a comparative to mean than. And the same thing, you could replace huav, bird, with all for a superlative. But specifically for this one, it would allow us to use it with other verbs. So this is just with to be, for standard comparison. But for example, if it was like the dog eats the, I don't know, the apple or something. What do dogs eat?
Well, I mean, usually meat, bones.
Well, whatever. The dog eats the bone or chews the bone, and then it chews the bone more, it would mean. It's like it chews it more than somebody else. So you could attach it to any verb and get your comparison for that. So those were the 3 options, and we had a vote that all of our patrons carefully considered over the course of 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks of consideration.
And they all voted, of course. And the results came down to this. First, last, it was close. So all 3 options got a lot of votes.
Yeah, and that is actually something that's always exciting when you see that split, because that tells us we came up with 3 good strategies.
Yeah, as opposed to one being in dead last. So the one that came in last, it was very, very close, was B. So that was just having something that means than, it means covering, and we take care of it from there. So B is out. It came down between it came down to C and A. And I believe the final margin was 2 votes.
Oh, wow.
So that would be both Mateus and Magpie. 2 votes. 2 votes. And the winner, by a very slim margin, was C, the verbal modifier. So that's super useful. We can figure out exactly what the etymology of it is going to be. Is there anything in here that Or did you have an idea? I feel like we had an idea for this, and
We
then we
did
forgot
have an
about it.
idea, and I need to make sure. Like a second, the notebook I was writing in that I think it would be in the bottom of my stack. If I remember where we were. Nope, that's something else. That's something else.
Well, Jonathan, if you don't remember what you voted for, oh, there you go. See? You won. Excellent.
Hey, yay! Nope, I didn't write it down. I don't know. Those are all different notes.
Well, that's what we're going to have to figure out. Also, I just made up the form har, so it can be whatever. Also,
I really have this memory of like writing and showing you notes of ideas.
no, I do too. That was, and I remember
What notebook was I using?
I don't remember, but I know that this one was your idea. C was your idea specifically, and you
Well,
had an idea for it.
And C, I was most excited about because the ability to add it to any verb I thought was quite exciting.
Yeah.
And so I was super stoked about that. And now I have no idea because I really don't have that many notebooks. And so I'm so confused about where I would have written it because this is I'm writing in it and also doing finished stickers on the back in it. Notebook.
It wasn't the orange one?
My orange one?
Yeah.
That one was filled and finished.
Wasn't that recently though?
Like 2 months ago.
Yeah, all right. And there's something else I wanted to...
Yeah, I started using this one in March. Okay, well.
All right.
We maybe have it somewhere.
Well, that's what's on tap for today. Okay.
But I did have an idea, and now I'm like, where? I swear I had an idea. And that's definitely too late. Okay.
You know, I've never been to Berlin, Matthias. Been to Köln, München, Weil am Rhein, and what's the one that starts with a D that's near Köln?
Düsseldorf?
Düsseldorf. Yeah. I've been to those cities in Germany.
Those were all the notes about the equative locative.
That's all right. We'll figure it out because we need to get to the other poll.
Yes. Oh, Mate's nice. And I've actually never been to Berlin either.
Really?
Because when I was living in Germany and we went, my friends and I went on a big road trip through Germany. One of our planned stops, one of our planned stops on our road trip was Berlin, and I was quite excited to see it. Except in the precise week that we had planned our grand German road trip to explore the rest of the country outside of our little corner there by Trier, that was the exact same week that President Bush was visiting Berlin. And so like a lot of the city had like totally shut down to like, security and all that. And it was especially tight because this was right after 9/11. And so like security, anytime international stuff was especially tight at the time, which meant that more was shut down than would be shut down today probably. And so anyway, we decided to not go to Berlin because we found out through people who had tried going there what it was like. And we were like, well, I guess we'll skip Berlin. And I have never been back to Berlin. So
I went to Sevilla in Spain in 1992 in the summer for the World's Fair, the World Expo. And when we got there to the hotel that my mother had booked and had a reservation for, we arrived, and apparently, what's his face? The dude with the bald head and the thing on the top. What is it? From the Tetris movie? And Street Fighter 2? Gorbachev, Mikhail Gorbachev. Apparently, he was staying at that hotel, and we were booted. They're like, sorry, we can't honor your reservation.
That is crazy.
And so then we like her, because there's a ton of people in town for the World Expo. And so we had to just kind of go to some place, and there was basically this place where it was like they had like a little board that was kind of like a cardboard with the keys on there, and it had clearly been written in marker. And it was essentially a converted army barracks where
Oh my gosh.
when we got in there, it's like there were two beds. It was just a concrete floor and two beds. And then like the only bathrooms were down the hall, but these were barracks that were outdoors. There was just like one of those mats that they put over dirt as the halls in between, and that was where we stayed in Renteria.
Wow. As a side note, when you were describing the guy, because you said Tetris, my brain went to movies because I knew what you meant. But my brain was in like, who was the actor? So I thought the actor was there. I wasn't thinking like, what historical figure were you?
He would have been a bit younger.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
That was one poll.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure this out momentarily. In the meantime, I need to go down for the next one, right?
Yeah.
That's where it is.
So that means you need to scroll up to go down.
Okay. I know what I'm doing.
Okay, so the next poll was the Jesse and David name poll. So people came up with suggestions for our names. We had some good suggestions, but we do have a winner for each one. So if you want to go ahead and scroll down, this one is pretty good to go ahead.
I gotta load more.
We had some very good suggestions, including one by Artifexian.
Ooh!
That's the Artifexian, who suggested Dreamer for Jesse, and you were all like, Artifexian who? And just dumped on his suggestion. And both winners were by Cassandra Woodhouse.
Ooh! Nice.
And I guess I'm also revealing that I voted for them because they were nice.
Yes.
Even so, they would have won anyway.
So you're like yelling at everyone for not going with Artifexian's responses, yet you used our votes. Not for Artifexian.
It would have won anyway, because I also would have voted for Artifexian, so I think it was great. In fact,
Artifexian.
I'm going to do it right now.
I'm going to say thank you. That was a beautiful suggestion, and I love it. And so thank you so much for that suggestion. All
right. So the winner was for Jesse was to guide with Gebram being Labrador. And so the way that we're going to work is the verb to guide is going to be je, and then we're going to create an agentive suffix that's going to be si, or that when you combine it, it's going to be si. And so then, Jesse will be somebody who guides or leads, or leader. Oh, that's very good. All right. And for the David name, fruit, which and the source of the word for sweet sugar, I thought that was really nice. Isn't that nice? Too. Like, finally I get a nice one from that.
I also like Jake's to laugh. I will say Bubba onion was used for Ingala. And so I think people remembered that. And even though it did get a lot of votes here, David's name in Ingala does mean onion. And so it's happened. And so, yeah. And by the way, Peter, I also like the Rubba Jesse and the whole verbified thing. A lot of fun to think through.
But yeah.
Bubba was aware, just wanted more onions.
All right. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So where do you want to start? With the comparison?
Yeah, I think that would be really good to get this cemented, or at least written in the document so we remember that we need to create a form. Yeah. So at least typed up that this was the winner. I can add to the document too just the notes that this is what our names will mean, so that way we don't forget.
So sounds good. I can also do that since you are the one controlling the screen right now. I just need to pull up the language.
Oh, and this was still up here. David was considering, in case you didn't know, was considering the underdot. preferentialization.
I think it could work.
I think it looks cool. My problem, and that the problem I still have, is that in David's own words, it would be hell to type.
I mean, we'd have to just change our conlangery keyboard layout and just add them.
Oh, I could also add the other things that you were upset that I accidentally took away.
Yeah, could do it.
I'm just laughing at Dave. I'm just
know.
staring at him.
I know. But I was doing this test because I wanted to see if they actually came out in italics, bold italics. So then the only thing to do would be the only weird thing would be that you add the dot for pharyngealize, but not for H. For H, the regular would already be pharyngealized, and then you add the dot for voicing, kind of. Just weird. Or the dot would change it from a fricative into a approximant, which is a little weird. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just gonna let's leave that there. Let's leave that there, just to think about.
I'm gonna type here. We have to guide.
Oh,
and
nice.
Here we have fruit.
It's right up there. And then leading to this. Yeah.
With, I believe it was J. Oh, J, as if.
Yeah. Oh. Is that not how you spell Labrador?
How do you spell Labrador? Oh, they want it capitalized.
Jeez.
There we go.
I suppose we have to capitalize champagne, too, since it comes from the region.
Actually, I wonder. Nope.
Oh.
That is apparently common enough that it is common, but Labrador is not. But I like that if I had made it plural, Labradors, it was like that would be fine.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, that would be fine lowercase.
I'm going to pull up Lexergy real quick. I want to see something.
Oh, I should have pulled up that too. I have a little quick link here. Then I gotta.
It's
get that.
Okay. So what I wanted to see was this was just regarding spelling and the romanization. If you go back to the document. So the J-Bram, it should be D-Y-E.
D-Y-E.
Because it's a palatal stop, voice palatal stop. Yeah. J-Bram. Okay. Okay, so we got that, and then we'll have to figure out what te means essentially and how it works. Okay, so then let's think about this. We have a what you call it? So we have a verb, right? What does the verb for to be mean in that case? It was the to in Brahm, or the to in that equative.
Oh, that one. We don't have these written, right? Like they should be up here somewhere.
No, I think they're probably in the verb section.
Because we had that written, and I'm fairly certain I remember.
There we go. To comes from talk.
To give off scent.
Oh, did I make that mistake? One sec.
Why would it have been a mistake?
Just okay. No, oh yeah, I did. I forgot the apostrophe in tohar, but like.
Well, I mean, I don't think people were voting based on the apostrophe being there or not. And if you were, then David's fault.
I fixed it. What do you mean can't save draft? Can't save draft. Please try saving again or try creating a new post. What on earth?
Because it's closed. They know it's closed. Okay, so yeah, there's going to be an apostrophe.
Last save seconds ago. Hold on a sec.
Patreon is giving us some fits.
Like, I just want to make it correct. Okay, it shows up. It shows
Okay.
up. Okay, the apostrophe is there. Um, okay, so that comes off to give off scent.
Yes.
And so then what appended to the verb, which is probably going to be some sort of noun that's interpreted as an adverb, I guess. So it's like, or a verb. It could be a verb. So like if you think about like, if like the dog runs, so it's like run the dog. The dog runs quickly. It's like, I don't know, run, speed the dog, something like that. I don't know. Something like that that's going to give us the sense of moreness or greaterness.
Reek. You don't just give off the scent, you give the scent reekingly.
And it's going to be something that applies to all verbs.
Yeah, because it'll be grammaticalized. That's how these things work. Okay. Big. Bigness. Tall. Those are all adjectives. Strength.
Is there just some other verb? Like, it works. It works. Just like, do anything else.
Do you want it to be a verb or a noun?
I don't know. The verb really works.
So verb. Okay. Okay. How about David? We're going to need to start typing a little description anyway. Let's start typing a description while my brain is spinning.
Miles has got.
To engorge, to swallow.
Yeah.
To pass. I think to exceed was actually one of my ideas, was that we turn that into a marker on the verb. Like it exceeds giving off a scent.
I don't think pass works because of the syntax.
Mm-hmm.
That is the preposition that it's occurring with is to, towards, which comes from, I'll look it up, comes from hua, which is chase, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's chase.
Something that means something like outrun or win or overtake, but is simpler than any of those concepts. Leap.
I'm gonna throw grow in there.
To grow. Oh, that's good. There's something. I just need, my brain needs to get these out so that way it stops circling around. So I'm going to put exceed and cover in because I liked those in the comparative, and so my brain keeps coming back around to it even though this is a different strategy. Swell.
Sure. Can now dogs, when they're angry, their hair stands up on the back of their heads. Is that right? On the backs?
Yeah.
It's a dog thing.
It is. It kind of depends on dog type. For like, it's not like a cat as much. Like you're not gonna see like, because
cats do it when they're afraid.
Right. But with dogs, because I think the original term to raise one's hackles is actually from dogs.
When the hair on a dog's back goes up, technically called piloerection, it's usually a sign that the dog is aroused, fearful, startled, stimulated, or excited in some way. Oh my goodness, hold on. Just really quickly, look at that.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
It's a very attractive font. I don't know what this site is. It's thewildest.com. And that, wow. Whew. Wow. That is something. If you want to see an incredible W, go to thewildest.com. Wow. Whole font is just incredible, plus with the rainbow. All right, anyway. Pillow correction. Images.
It's the same thing that happens to our arm hairs when you get goosebumps.
Oh my gosh, look at this squirrel.
Oh my God, there's a squirrel with its hair all standing up. That's amazing.
So I guess it's not exclusive to dogs, but at the same time, it's a phenomenon.
I also put to rise as an option.
Yeah.
Hey, Tethys. So, I swear I had an idea, but this was 2 weeks ago. It's really unfortunate.
For me, I like grow, swell, and rise.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to think if there's something.
Rake also works.
What's that?
Rake also works.
Listen, it was a first thought. We don't have to use it. You asked me what it may come from, knowing that it probably originated with use from the to be verb.
It really works.
And it's problem. Like to be saturated, essentially, is what I mean.
It's a natural extreme. And that's the problem. We're looking for verbs that talk about a natural extreme, I guess.
Like to fill or sate?
I think that was Miles' idea with engorge.
With engorge,
sate,
yeah.
I bless you.
Thank you. Whew. Okay. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So Mateus, that's what I was kind of going for with to rise, because I was trying to think, like, I guess stand would be our equivalent in English, but I mean, essentially, if that's what they were doing, standing would have to be a sort of equivalent.
Yeah. That's really interesting, though. So we already have the verb to stand that we use for the locative, but it has to be quite a thing for dogs to start going on 2 legs as opposed to 4 legs. Like that's quite an event, and I think it's something that they would remark upon,
Because I feel like the possums, I don't know that a possum is ever really just on its back legs in its current instantiation. But with cats, mice, and rabbits, it's much more common to see them sort of, on their back legs and up.
Yeah.
Whereas with dogs, it's like something that's precarious, and when a dog can hold it for a long time, at that point they're like a trick dog, and people like pay to see them do this. And so like that feels like it's kind of a big deal. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. Now in my head, I'm running through images of cute cats standing up. And by the way, if you didn't see David's post, we saw the biggest rabbit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it was quite a rabbit.
In Finland. And I guess it was a hare, really, instead of a rabbit.
You can't call a thing like that a bunny.
It was...
You call him Mr. Hare.
It was huge, and like I don't think we got...
Hare.
I don't think we got anything standing next to the rabbit for dimension. Like we need something to show the size, otherwise it just looks like it's a rabbit. But man, let me tell you that it was like a small kangaroo or something.
Yeah. So.
Rear. Okay, Karis.
That's more of a temporary thing.
That is true.
But
okay.
So here's the thing. I don't like that for this grammaticalization. because I think it's something that's going to have to be somewhat of a complex compound, and it's also going to be something that's discussed as kind of an event where you kind of like mark your existence by it. In other words, the same way that we talk about the pandemic, or like in the United States, there's the pandemic, there's also like 9/11, there was the moon landing. The the movement for all of these animals, from being predominantly four-legged, quadrupeds, right, to being bipedal, is a huge landmark event in their existence. And so it's the type of thing that would be discussed like that. And so I want for there to be a term for it in every single one of our languages. But it's not going to be something that is just kind of a one-off term that could be used for grammaticalization. I think it should be something else. It reminds me of, I want a term that's like pre and post lapsarian, which is this fancy term used in literature and other things like that, referring to before and after the fall of man, which is relevant if you're reading Milton or something. Anyway,
I needed to look up the word used by Remy, and now I'm looking up agouti is how it's pronounced. Um, it's like a huge rabbit and huge guinea pig had a baby that was also huge. They were agouti. So I had to look up agouti to see, and that description is not wrong based on the images I saw on Google. But I also had to look up how to say it because, wanted to make sure I was actually saying what you said. That's fascinating. Bipedalization. Oh, I love post-bipedalization. Nice, Mateus. What's wrong?
No, it is.
Okay. So the other thing I was saying, like, to jump, as in like you jump ahead of somebody, or like you clear them. You're like over them. That was what I meant there.
Yeah. I think that we should go with something that's less accusative-y, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I was just being puzzled. I will say it's kind of a weird thing when you deal with languages that have or plus or minus ATR. Schwa is usually the plus ATR variant of ah, and so ah is usually treated the same way as and aw, whereas is treated the same way as a and o. And so my brain very briefly fuzzed out where I was like, why is it ah next to L?
Oh.
Because what's happening is that L is making whatever comes before it minus ATR. And most minus ATR things have the Grav accent, but not that one. It's the opposite. And it's because English speakers think of, as the reduced version of ah. I don't know if it makes sense to switch it so that instead the Grav accent is is always minus ATR. Gosh darn.
You good?
It's okay. Just throwing me for a loop. Anyway, I'm going to ignore that. We're just going to power on and ignore that minus ATR question. Essentially, it makes sense, though, because then Bram would actually have the minus Grav accent.
I mean, dogs just got to have their zoomies. And, like, if you're doing zoomies, you're extreme.
Yeah, that's actually good. Okay, I think then grow, swell, rise, zoom, I think is our set.
Are we going to vote?
Yeah.
We're going to have a vote.
Okay, I'm going to write up this poll.
It's exciting. And see, Reek didn't made it, but it started a discussion, didn't it?
I sure do hope that Bibleridian is well today.
We saw one of his lighthouses in Finland.
That's true. one of his former lighthouses, since of course now he is at a monastery
That's true.
that has no light.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, there we go. Poll is up.
You know what?
What?
I'm not sure I actually did write notes that night we were discussing the poll options because you had the electronic version of the World Lexicon of Grammaticalization. Well, I had the paper version, so you could tell me what to look up in the pages.
Yeah.
And we were going back and forth doing that. And so I would have had the book and been like shouting out ideas. Oh, how unfortunate.
Yeah.
Is it in your notebook? This one or this one's long enough it would still be there, right? We got all our notebooks.
Adverb more.
Okay.
But no, it's just.
And then it goes into our other discussions. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was the writing, though. We didn't forget. We had written something down.
Yeah.
I just must have shouted an idea that now we don't remember.
Yeah. You know, it depends what you refer to as good. A lot of people don't think of lighthouses as prime real estate. But, you know, when you need one, you need one. So every so often, that Biblaridian makes a killing selling off his various lighthouses. So, you know, it's something.
Lighthouses always make me think of Pete's Dragon.
The Pete's Dragon?
The movie.
I've never seen it.
Huh. It was on TV a lot, on the ABC Disney movie thing quite a bit.
No, I would see it on like Channel 5 at like noon some days and then like not watch it.
I watched it.
I didn't like how the dragon looked.
Multiple times.
He looked goofy.
Well, yeah, he was a cartoon in a real movie.
Yeah, I know, but I like dragons to look cool, you know, not goofy.
I mean, it's like the earliest Roger Rabbit style.
Well, I think Rise has just risen by another vote, so I think that we are done.
Do you think we have proved? We should have had to prove.
To prove.
Like as in bread.
Yeah.
Proves. Oh my goodness, by the way, I was making bread the other day and I caught a video of the yeast doing its thing in the warm water and sugar, and it was kind of exciting. It was cool. Anyway, to Rise.
All right.
We have risen to the occasion, you're right.
Okay.
Oh my. Be careful as I move my mouse around.
All right, so then we will need a form. You know what we should do? We should start writing the section for this.
I know, which is what I told you to do while we were brainstorming. Goodness, David.
You did?
Goodness. Roll back the tapes.
Fine. I understand. So how?
Oh, I mean, St. Dublin, I liked it too. That's why I suggested it. Because also dogs getting the zoomies, just, it's always funny to watch. I scrolled the wrong way. There you are.
Suffix that attaches to the verb. It can turn any verb to a comparative form of that verb, which means 2x more. Its most canonical function is likely with the copula shown below in the first example, but it can also be used with any other verb as in the second. Okay.
Perfect. Should have brought my laptop over here. While you're doing that, I could have made the bullet points more fun. Oh, wait. Don't we have in the document? Here we go. You can copy those bullet points.
Well, yeah,
Well, you already have other formatting, so I didn't want to do it and kill you.
I think it's still there, isn't it? Oh wait,
No,
no,
you always.
you have to do it.
No, like that's the current. As soon as I go up here, I would have to get into the files to do it.
It doesn't remember it.
Mm-mm.
Add it to the document. Here,
No, which is really unfortunate. But that's why I always did it off screen while you were doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because it worked that way.
That's fine. There we go. Okay, so طبعا there we go. Okay, so طبعا we have that. The dog is big, and then I'll show in a second.
And then we have the
Very standard of comparison is required. The preposition is used for superlative function. A pronoun used, though this can also be the interpretation of
okay. And then I'm also gonna do that away.
Of course, we don't have a word for everything.
Right, right. So yeah, if we don't have like the dog is bigger than the bird, if we don't have the than the bird, it's just the dog is bigger.
Well,
and so it could mean, than anything.
All this comparative / superlative.
Oh, anime fan, that's unfortunate. We may have another vote coming up because we are going to need the comparative form.
Oh, did you fix it?
I did.
Thank you.
So we're going to need an actual phonological form for to rise. And also, by the way, anime fan, even if to rise wasn't your top vote, it beat the others by enough that one vote would not have changed that.
Okay.
Do you want me to start eliciting forms?
Yeah, because we actually have to have the suffix on there, which we don't have.
Right, yeah. Our example's a bit incomplete. We're looking for probably CV at the least.
Yeah.
Or does it not matter at all? Would you?
Like the form that we had was HAR, which was fine, CVC. If it started with a vowel, it might be. We'll have to do something with the hiatus.
Right.
So probably starting with a consonant.
Yeah, consonant, and then
consonant vowel, consonant vowel, vowel, consonant vowel, consonant, something like that.
Tethys, I do that all the time.
Throw out some forms.
All the time. All right.
We can do HAR as one of them if people like that.
So yeah, so C, V, CVC kind of forms. Yeah. So, wait, we had a uvular R, right?
At one point we did, yeah. I don't know what happened to it.
We killed the uvulars.
Yeah, we did.
That's what happened.
Well, we didn't have a uvular trill. We had a uvular.
That's what we had. That's what I was thinking. So this would be the regular, the row. Okay, so row is.
All right. Row.
Row.
Mm-hmm. And I think that nothing's going to happen to that.
Oh, I can actually put that in up here so people can see.
Yeah, nothing happens to it, so row becomes row.
Outstanding. Okay. You're right, Karis. Yes.
Got
All right.
la.
Nope. Did we have that?
Oh, you can put in a regular L,
Yes.
but you will need to put in a schwa.
You know, that would help. Thank you.
Good. Nothing happens to
Thank
that.
you. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put you. You did have hard. Did that need to be a? Do I need to do a special H?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So nothing changes there except it all got done.
Now, some of these may change as a result of the previous word. So, like, for example, if it ends in I, A, E, so, so they're having an issue with lexergy.
Oh no.
A syllabification issue. So like I just put an M-A-E in front of all three of those syllables.
Uh-huh.
And it's doing this.
Oh. Oh.
Probably because when R palatalizes, it disappears.
Oh, hey, Jake. Jake around the world.
Yeah, so, but for example, my har becomes, if that were the form, like it would become majar, majar, majar. Yeah. And so we'll have to figure out, row is fine, we're gonna have to figure out something that's gonna happen with that form if it follows a palatalizing one. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Let's see what.
Oh man.
I think we need to put in both. Yeah. And so that one would become mehwol, mehwol, mehwol. Yeah, mehwol.
I don't think we either. Oh yeah, we could also. I could try that without the labialization, and we could also get that.
It still becomes ch, but just no va on there. All right. Well, which four do you like there?
Oh wait. 2, 3. So the my har becomes my jar.
Majar. Yeah, when it follows a palatalizing one.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's cool. And this one is going to get the stress. In other words, this suffix is going to attract the stress.
Well, I like what's happening there with har. So I keep that. I like what's happening with Q, whether we want to keep it simpler and not have the w thing. Mejol, although that's kind of fun too. But I like that one.
And then we'll have to figure out something with R if we want to keep it.
Okay. I actually like the four on your screen right now. The Vogue, Har, La, and Kol.
All right.
Mind you, I like the Kol just because it's Kol, fun. But I feel like for a suffix that is getting potentially grammaticalized, like it seems a bit heavy.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm about to show Jesse two very dangerous photos.
are these for me? Oh, Meridian's playing with cats. Why is Meridian playing with cats? Where are they?
They stopped in at PetSmart.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
David has learned he can't take me into PetSmart. I tried to talk him into adopting 4 cats last time we were there.
Mm.
We did not.
All right. And what do you like better, whole or whole?
Mejor. Mejor. Which do you like better?
Hmm.
So my concern was, is it too heavy with the v? Because I
No.
totally just had this discussion with you. I think you were looking at cat pictures and you just kind of went,
No, but like it's not too heavy.
You sure?
Yeah, because this is something that's not going to get used all the time. It's for comparison. It's going to get stressed. It's
Well, then I like the
All right.
because it's ness.
Okay. All right.
That looks right.
Yeah, it looks right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, David is typing up a poll for forms for it to rise. And I am super stoked to see what wins here. I guess here with the, no wait, would there be a change with that? Because this was originally in the proto form. Talk.
And then stays as well. Yeah, these things aren't really changing their forms so much, or at least not.
Not for their full form. I think mine was the one that came. Well, I guess I can have 2 of them there.
It's they'll all change, and then yeah.
Ooh.
Sorry. Yeah, I guess technically it's still that. Let me.
Yeah, that's. I think I still had it typed out here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still that. And we just don't write the labialization for that one because, I mean, in our romanization, because we don't need it as implied, it's assumed. Okay, there we go.
Yay! So, anime fan, make sure you're around. Calling you out by name. Yeah, Tethys, you're absolutely right because they wouldn't be contrasting because that labialization is being triggered by the labial, and so you just don't mark it. It's just something that comes out when you say it. Oh my, we've had some shifting going on. Oh my, woo! 2 forms seem to have leapt out. Anime fan wants pronunciation, please.
La, har, vog, kvol, kvol, kvol. So la, har, vog, kvol.
Jake doesn't want to try bear or squirrel.
it's really cool. I New Museum.
I will say you're welcome on David's behalf, anime fan.
So I say you're welcome.
Oh, is that in the Finnish squirrels with the cute little ear tufts, their language?
Oh yeah, they're really cute. All right. I think.
The bear, not so much, but squirrel, yeah. Bear, not so much because we just don't have a big population of native bears in the area. But we did, while in Finland, try bear meat.
Yeah, we did.
And so.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So.
My fun, dear.
Cool, let's write it down.
You seem so not happy with this.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm happy. And as David will soon learn, that's all that matters.
All right, let's, what was the,
Oh, Jake, yeah, no, that does not sound as enticing. What was the what? Sorry.
what was the protoform of?
It's right here.
Okay. So then, yeah, I'm gonna, so.
It would actually not aspirate, yeah, because it would kind of be blocked by that consonant final.
No, it'll be
oh, not aspirate, sorry, fricate.
Yeah, so,
is what I meant.
So this is, that's what I'm suggesting here, that this might be, it's funny because it's like it would be slightly irregular and would make it, even though it's more common, would make it less sonorous, I guess. So that's too bad, I guess. Honestly, it's not much difference. Talkful and talkful.
No.
Talkful.
And I mean, honestly, I think it would provide a sort of unique thing where, you know, with most other verbs, we're going to see if the vowel final, you're going to see it.
Yeah.
And so that, I think.
All right. So then.
I think that's kind of nice.
Yeah, leave it. All right. Thoughtful. Probably the dog is bigger, biggest. Okay, good. And now let's do another verb.
Ooh, what other verb are you doing now?
I don't know, just something. Just anything.
Any old verb.
Yeah.
Well, we had run, right?
Yeah, we could do that.
Although if we want to create a new word just to like have some fun.
Huh. Ironically.
All right. And no, but that
shouldn't this be getting hit by the degeminitizer?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
It's not, I think, because of the proliferation of secondary articulations between it. But didn't we have something that got rid of gemination?
It would have been for some reason I thought it was near the end, but that wouldn't be right. No, I don't actually see.
We don't.
No, yeah. Talk through that. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, I'll be right back.
Let's see. So I think that we didn't do a lot of phonology for consonant sequences because we weren't going to have a lot of them. But here we are going to have a lot of them, I think. But so we're actually going to have a lot of geminates for this one. And I think maybe we just need a little rule that says if two things that are similar enough come into contact, it'll just be a geminate. And I don't think that we were going to get rid of them. Yeah, there's nothing in here about geminates. So I think I chose two bad examples because they're both going to be geminate Ks, which is too bad. Anyway, so the irregularity in the, sorry, let me, where is it? The irregularity here will be that it's producing a geminate K where there was no consonant there to begin with. Oh, man.
We could use the verb for to howl in these comparatives.
Oh, sure, but
Wouldn't that give us our...
it would at least give us something different, but hold on a sec.
Sit behind you.
So we do have some assimilation. We have nasal assimilation, right?
It's the only
That's
one.
that's the only
That's
one.
it, yeah. My chair does not want to. There we go.
Anyway, so I think that what we need to do is say that we need to have something in there about like consonants becoming geminates. And we need to come to a decision about what's going to happen. Like, let's say that we had a verb that ended in a T that was followed by this quol. So like mat quol. We think the dogs are going to keep it.
Out of curiosity, because I don't remember. Like, I remember we had simplification, but why are all these losing the coda? Did we delete codas?
Which ones?
Well, because I thought the verb for it to run ended in a vowel, and that's why I had suggested it.
The vowel was epenthesis.
Oh. Yeah, because this was what I was looking at, so I was like, oh, that'll be great, it'll be intervocalic, but I didn't see the X between them. Okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why that one works that particular way. But it does, raise.
Well, I mean, even then, like, it does raise the point, what's going to happen here with that D at the end?
Yeah, hued.
Hued kol.
Hued kol. Hued kol. Hued kol. So we could have it assimilate in voicing just for obstruents, but retain its character. I think honestly that makes sense.
So it'd be like hued gol. No, go the other way around.
Yes.
Hued kol.
Yeah.
Hued kol. Hued kol.
Hued kol. Yeah.
Well, I can do it. And then for something like sniff, it would puff, quote. Yeah,
Where is it?
at the bottom. Or not pop, it's puff.
Oh, nothing would need to happen
Puff, quote.
because it's already voices.
Quote.
But one that ended in a v would
Yeah.
devoice.
No, I like that.
Okay. I'm going to put this as a kind of a last. No, wait, the sound change has to occur before the adding of the vowel.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be lachol quo
Yeah.
instead of lachol. And that would only, you had said, happen with the obstruent, so like mem to pull, mem quo.
Okay, word final labialized consonants lose their labialization. The labialization vocalizing to either oo or o. So it has to be before sound change 10. Probably before this one too. Yeah. Probably around here.
So around 7 or 8. I'm going to come
Yeah.
down to that part of the document again.
But we're going to say after diphthong polarization.
Okay, so after this one with all the text in the chart.
Yeah, so I'm going to make it new sound change 7.
Okay.
Oh dear. And it's going to be called general assimilation. Maybe these should be. Have we already lost the uvulars?
I thought that happened later.
It does happen a lot later.
So it's near the end, right? Because we have the uvular coloring before.
Ooh, oh boy. Well, this is an
before 20.
interesting little nugget. Because if we have the Q's assimilate in place to a following consonant, then uvular coloring isn't going to happen. So I think maybe we shouldn't do it. After all, we're not having the T's assimilate or anything like that. They're just assimilating in voicing.
Voice.
Yeah, so this is going to be voicing assimilation. All right. Consonant goes. I'm going to say plus or minus voice. No, alpha voice. That's how you do that. In front of a consonant, that is alpha voice. We need to insert some alphas into there.
Ooh, if you're on conlingering, there is an alpha.
How do you do that?
Do the command K and then Q. No, sorry, capital Q.
Okay. Okay. Obstruent. So, what characterizes an obstruent?
Besides obstruent?
Yeah, is it like minus sonorant?
Oh, I guess I would have just said plus obstruent.
Let's, distinctive features.
This is.
Oh, there it was. That's what I wanted.
Make it all big. Sonar, so minus sonorant, I guess.
Yeah, minus sonorant. Perfect.
And that includes, so the fricatives will devoice too? Yeah, because that's what you had said you wanted. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so it's minus, minus
yes.
sonorant.
And Kyle is saying the same. And Kyle, except we're not doing minus continuant because we do want like a V to go to an F.
Yeah. An Austrian will match voice seem to be well. Except
Uh-oh.
we don't want that to happen with oh, whoops. We don't want it to happen with nasals, right?
No. Definitely.
So what are things that are going to trigger this voice? Should it just be obstruents? Because we're going to be fine with R and L. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Okay. That makes it nice and okay. An obstruent will match the voicing of a following obstruent.
Obstruent. And that makes sense because
I'm really happy with that. Yeah.
Tufga becoming like Tavga versus Tugfa becoming Tukfa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with that. Okay. So then back to our.
And then once you get this, it's time to do some celebration. Now, interestingly enough, wait, gv does not become gv.
No.
But the v, the v does not happen until later in the sound changes.
Yeah, it doesn't happen until later. So it's
we put it early enough that it's still voiceless.
Yeah. We're fine. Woo! Okay.
Nice.
Right. Okay, so just another verb. Yeah, we can do hua for chase. What does it come out as? Just hua?
Just 1 second. Yeah, hua. Hua. Hua, I mean.
All right. Okay, huabram. And what does it chase?
Squirrels.
No, it's chasing the bird. The dog chases the bird. So now I need to figure out what is it chase to? How do transitive verbs work?
We have a marker, right? Is it actually? I think it. No, wait.
Did we say it up in the nouns?
Here we go. Here it is.
Noun
the
function.
Dog chases them. We've got the V, the wa, wa, v.
So it's wahwav.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Huabram, wahwav, hua. Sorry, huabram, wahwav. I keep pronouncing the R as a tap as opposed to bram.
I do too, which is kind of funny because
because that R is RR.
It is.
Okay, who is the dog going to chase the bird more than?
More than the mouse.
Do we have a mouse?
We do, because that was our example sentence up above was.
All right.
Or down below, wherever that was, I swear. Okay, we have the dog chases the mouse or the cat. Mouse and cat are both possibilities.
Okay. Let's see. I want to be sure that this is what this comes out as. Yeah. Hua. Why does it become hua? Oh, interesting. So it's actually going to become
uvular coloring.
You should go back to this page.
Well, I was going to let you grab the nouns you needed and then come back, but. And so here's where David was saying we go from hua to hua because of that.
Interesting. And then mouse, you said was
I didn't say that's why I was up here.
mm,
Vuhu,
vuhu.
because it's going to be the va.
Vuhu. Okay, the dog chases the bird more than the mouse. That's interesting. And then the order will just determine because we have wa twice.
Question, does this mean the dog does more chasing than the mouse chases? Or the dog chases the bird more often than he chases the mouse?
It's up to interpretation.
Okay, so it's like English in that it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Oh, that was you just doing an illicit key combination? Is that...
yeah.
David's computer just did like a kind of noise, and I was like thinking it was dying or something.
Chases the bird more most. All right. All right.
Woo! Ready to celebrate?
Yeah, I've got some more to write there. This is pretty interesting and complex, but for now.
Go Pico!
Oh, my goodness. By the way, I'm just like, I've been really sick the past week, and I am just exhausted. Absolutely exhausted.
And unfortunately, he does not have time for a nap after this.
No, I don't.
Or he does, but it has to be a very short one, which may not be helpful.
All right. That's right. Because this is the
Copico.
pick-me-up I need. Cheers, partner. Mm.
I did make him a coffee drink this morning with 2 shots of espresso.
Copico, when you need a Mentos, but for real.
My word. Yeah, this is extensive.
Yeah, so let me grab. I'm going to have to at least explain here. There's a bit of morphophonology involved in the form of the comparative suffix. It will sometimes occur with a fricative. And, actually, I just, typing something into Lecture-G to check it out. Okay, it doesn't spread.
Actually, wait, go back. No, never mind. I thought I saw the pharyngalization marker in more than one place, but I did not. David was quickly checking to see if a pharyngalized consonant coda before the suffix would trigger pharyngalization of the onset for the suffix.
It will sometimes affect a change in the verb to which it is affixed. And for that reason, it's starting to feel a bit more like inflection. There. And that should be there. It's because it's actually a geminate. And we don't disallow geminates, so there it is.
For it to be, I had wondered if it would not be a geminate just because that's the most common, and the verb for it to be loses it as a coda anyway. Yeah. Whereas if you actually are using the verb to give off assent, like you give off assent more than somebody else does, then the K would be there as a geminate.
Well, in that case, then I think it should fricate.
I'm on board with that.
Okay, good.
Other than, do we want a different example down below with no frication? I thought we were going for different phonological forms and semantics. Do we want to have like a third set to show?
Such as a change in vowel quality.
Yeah, this one does show the vowel quality change in this.
Yeah. As a result, the comparative form will likely need to be listed in the dictionary, unfortunately. Unless we can come up with a list of standard changes.
Were you saying unfortunately because we had already started dictionary entries, or had we started with verbs? I thought we just did nouns.
I mean, but for... It just seems like an odd thing to incorporate unless we're going to have comparatives that are used a lot more.
I think that I think it's fine to have kind of weird comparative things going on with the very frequent verbs like the copular. I think verbs that just kind of take it, like to chase, maybe we should actually regularize it where it's like it actually does not interact.
I do have an idea. If we have more suffixes like this, then we can just list its combining form for verbs.
Well, and by suffixes like this, do you mean
suffixes that go with verbs? And if we have ones that are more common.
The hua one changes, right, because the uvular coloring? Because its protoform is a Q.
Really? Is that why it changes?
I thought so.
Let's take a look. Well, son of a biscuit-eating bulldog. It sure does. Darn it.
And so that's why I was saying, like, for verbs that wouldn't take it very often, you would end up getting a sort of regularization where it's like you're just going to get the suffix tacked on without it, like, interacting as much because it would have lost those distinctions because you don't use it enough to keep it.
Man, I don't like that. I feel like very few would actually retain the irregular, essentially, comparative form. But, you know you're... Oh, no, it's from a commercial. I'll explain it in a second. Okay, so then we're okay. So I'll say that these internal vowel changes will likely be retained only with high frequency items. Only with high frequency lexemes, which means that those forms will in effect become irregular. As a result, comparative form for these irregular forms likely will need to be listed in the dictionary. Okay. And it essentially will be like, how in an English dictionary you have to write
good, better, best.
Yes. Okay. All right, I'm fine with that. So, no, it's not from a Geico commercial. It is from a Mentos. No, not a Mentos commercial, an Orbit gum commercial.
Huh.
Yeah, it's an incredible commercial. It's an incredible commercial. It's three people, and essentially, it's what the setup is that a wife comes in on a husband and his mistress, and she's very angry because she's found out about it, and so she comes in and says, you son of a biscuit eating bulldog, and he replies, what the French, toast? Oh, and then Also, one of the best lines at the end is the mister says, "Who you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?"
Oh my God. I need to see this commercial.
Yeah, and then at the end, it says like, the whole point was like, if you have a dirty mouth, but Orbit gum will like clean it up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, but yeah.
I can't wait to see this. As soon as the stream ends, I am hitting YouTube.
Oh yeah, good stuff. All right, so okay, good. That at least is written down, and it makes sense, and it's fairly done. The thing that we need to do is eventually come up with a word for everything or all, and then throw it into these examples so that we have it. Yeah. All right. Good. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Well, let's talk two things.
Yeah.
One is, where do we want to go next?
Uh-huh.
Two is, what do we want to poll our patrons on that we're not going to start polling until Tuesday anyway. Just kidding. You'll probably get the poll before then. Maybe not. We'll see. But
okay. So we need to put in our David and Jesse forms, and in order for the Jesse form to work, we need to figure out what that agentive form is going to mean.
Yeah.
And so we can do that.
As a poll, or as a thing right now, / moving into next week?
We could do it right now. For the poll, I'm sorely tempted. Can you scroll up to the IPA chart?
Oh, yeah. Woo.
Scroll down a little bit. You know what I'm tempted by.
No,
You know what I'm tempted by.
the romanization?
Mm-hmm.
All right, David, tell us your plan.
I don't want to just decide it, but I'm tempted to make that the poll.
Apostrophes versus dots?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's do it.
You sure?
I'm sure. And then I will change the Conlingery keyboard to not only include dots, but to also include the, one character that apparently occurs in Esperanto and nowhere else that I accidentally removed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you gotta have that. What was it? Was it like the G with the hat?
It may have been, and it's that I have a generalized hat character now that applies to all, except I didn't, go in and custom add the hat.
Oh, how do you do that one?
J, I think. Command J. Or option.
Okay. It is.
Yeah, and I just only did it for the ones I thought.
Oh, man, but oh, that one's wrong. No, but these are check. For Esperanto, you need the ones that go the other way.
Then that's I instead of J.
Hmm.
And it works for vowels, because that's where you normally see it.
Yeah, but it needs to be on the consonants as well.
Which I did not know. And so I'm just saying.
Oh, it works for J.
It works for J. It works for the ones that it was already on there. It's just something that needs to be fixed. But that's something we can discuss later, not.
Do you have the U one that has the little smiling face above it? Because Esperanto uses that one as well.
Probably not.
All right.
Because I don't type in Esperanto, and I didn't realize you needed these things.
Oh, yeah, Esperanto. I'm sorry, retroflex, yeah. Well, the good answer to that is that we just won't have them. No, but actually, I think that we do have retroflex in Topakla, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that they're all retroflex. So.
And so we don't mark it.
Yeah.
Tethys wants the dots.
All right. More dots.
So
anybody knows that. Okay. Good. All right.
So that'll be our poll: dots versus apostrophes.
Yeah. And now for
I got to remember how to use my little editing thing. It takes a few minutes to get back into remembering how to do it.
oh, ukulele. It's great. Okay, so then if we want to stick at the top, then so for Jesse, then we have, you know, the te, but which can become, after that will become se.
Mm-hmm.
So intervocalically it'll become se. We can, oh God, left versus right apostrophes. I love the idea. It's just, you know, can't do it.
Something with the te, right?
Yeah.
We need to decide a meaning, yeah?
Oh, man. Yeah, say,
Oh,
that's kind of a bummer, Remy.
Remy, thoughts are with you. But stay grammar, and hopefully see you next week.
What is ate logo? I remember that. What is it?
I don't know.
It's familiar.
I can look it up. Maybe it's stay grammar.
But it can have a weightier.
Ooh, fica gramática. So long.
Portuguese, that was it. We can have a weightier form, but we need to, and it'll just get cut down for its suffixal form. But what is it going to mean?
All right, something that would become agentive, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
One moment. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to your hat. Good job. We have a word meaning dog.
Yeah.
But we had talked about how different dog groups would be bringing their languages.
Yes.
Te could be another word for dog from their language that only got fossilized in the agentive.
Hot diggity daffodil. I love it. All right.
Now that's a Davidism right there.
Absolutely not. That one's Bender Futurama. Okay.
Dang it! You steal everything. You need to be more original.
That's why I like hanging out with you, Jess, because you've seen like next to nothing, so I can just pull anything out. You think it's me.
Anyway.
Okay, so probably a weightier word than just te though.
Sure.
So what dog do we want to? What dog species do we want to say that this comes from?
Well, I think it should come from, because I feel like the Brum, it gives like weight. It feels like a bigger dog to me. So I think we should think about some of the smaller dogs, like the dog in Frasier. I love that dog.
What type of dog is that? A terrier?
Some maybe but good dog. Or even like beagles tend to be on the small side.
Jack Russell Terrier, yeah.
Okay, so like something like a terrier or something, just a smaller dog. I think it feels like it's essentially like saying, yeah, the small dogs, we'll take your word, but it did not become the main word for dog.
Oh, look at this. Sorry, I'm learning all about the dog in Frasier. So for a long time, it was portrayed by one dog.
By Moose, yeah.
By Moose for 16 years.
Well, Moose lived to be 16.
Moose lived to be 16, right. And then another dog, his son took over. But then that dog also had another dog Miko, who never became large enough, and Miko was given to a technician, and then the son, Moosey, lived with the person who played Ross Doyle.
Oh, nice.
That's so cute. Okay, so yeah, it was a terrier.
And I think that's
a small terrier. But yeah, no, terrier. Oh my god.
terrier.
Oh my god. Sclew it. We can do TER.
Yeah, we're doing TER to
Okay.
to screw the heck out of this.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah, nothing special happens to it, but like, okay, all right, perfect. Oh, this is so good. Okay, I don't know how to write it though. We just need to here, so we're just gonna write it somewhere. I'm gonna write it here. Ter is the word for dog from the terrier variant of Hauwaf. The word only survived in the form of the agentive suffix te/se.
Yeah, Karis, that is a shame because we run across the same problem we ran across with my name. There is no proto S.
Yeah.
And so no moose. Okay, so cool. We have that decided. The poll is going to be romanization strategies, and we need to get going.
Yes, we do.
And so, it's also Sclewy of Latin Tour. Nice. We're just, we are sclewing all over the place.
That's funny.
Love it. Well, thank you all for being here, and we hope you have a wonderful week, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday.
Right on.
You got the thing.
Yep. Stay grammar, everybody.
Bye.